But Richard, thank you very much indeed for coming.
Don't thank me, I've done nothing for you.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 awkward British news interviews.
No comment.
You don't want to say anything about that at all?
No comment.
Are you feeling nostalgic?
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at the most cringeworthy and hilarious interviews that have ever been aired on British TV. Tell us your favourite awkward moments in the comments below. Number 10, Sky News interview interrupted by child looking for biscuits. Sky News.
Really sorry, that's my son arriving. Sorry.
2020 was the year of working over Zoom, and we've all learned the downsides of trying to look professional through a webcam. One Sky News correspondent found out the hard way. Her toddler immediately created a hilarious viral moment when he crashed his mother's live remote interview.
Yes, you can have 2 biscuits.
While Deborah Haynes was speaking about a development in international relations, her adorable tot asked if he could have 2 biscuits. She agreed, possibly to hush him up, and the Sky News anchor intervened, explaining that family duties were only to be expected in lockdown. Number 9, Brenda from Bristol reacts to general election news. BBC News. A BBC interview with a woman named Brenda went viral in 2017, when she reacted to news of another election by grumbling,
"You're joking. Not another one?"
The Bristol inhabitant couldn't have been less impressed by the news, and Twitter users found her reaction both relatable and hilarious.
There's too much politics going on at the moment. Why does she need to do it?
The BBC might not have been looking for this reaction when they interviewed people on the street about the 2017 general election, but it reflected how the nation as a whole felt far better than any complicated political analysis could have. It might have been an unconventional news interview, but it was also definitely memorable.
Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
Number 8, Richard Ayoade and Krishnan Guru-Murthy. Channel 4 News.
Richard Ayoade is here. So if you were asking yourself a question now, what would it be?
I mean, couldn't you get anyone else to come? Perhaps that would be the question.
The comedian Richard Ayoade is known for his awkward deadpan persona, and nowhere is that more apparent than in his Channel 4 interview with presenter Krishnan Guru-Murthy. Ayoade played up the sheer awkwardness by refusing to answer seriously, sarcastically talking about his heritage and telling Gurumurthy, "I've done nothing for you," when the presenter thanked him at the end.
You're not going to go there as a subject.
How do you mean go there as a subject?
Well, do you...
Do you go there as a subject?
Gurumurthy claimed to be in on the joke afterwards, explaining that it was a clever approach because nobody really enjoys promotional interviews. It's still entertaining to watch the conversation go off the rails, however, and appreciate Ayoade's inability to take anything seriously.
But Richard, thank you very much indeed for coming.
Don't thank me, I've done nothing for you.
Number 7, Damon Albarn asked about feud with Oasis. Newsnight.
Are you feeling nostalgic?
Blur might have had less of a reputation for drama than their Britpop rivals, the Gallagher brothers, but that doesn't stop Damon Albarn from getting a hard time in interviews. When Newsnight culture correspondent Stephen Smith asked whether Blur or Oasis were a better band in this 2014 clip, the atmosphere became noticeably uncomfortable before Albarn replied,
"Well, that's not a very grown-up question for Newsnight, is it?"
I'll pass that on.
He went on to admit that Oasis were better at communicating who they were than his band, which is a very gracious way to talk about a group that had constantly been pitted against his own by the press.
Were they a bit more honest? Were you a bit more phony? Is that what you're saying?
No, you're saying that.
Number 6, Michael Howard and Jeremy Paxman. Newsnight. Jeremy Paxman is notorious for scaring both politicians on Newsnight and students on University Challenge, and his interviews back in the day were always intimidating.
And
Did
the
you
truth
threaten
of,
to overrule
the
him?
truth of the matter is that Mr. Marriott was not suspended.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
I did not overrule Derek
Did
Lewis.
you threaten to overrule?
Conservative politician Michael Howard was a victim of his aggressive interrogating style back in 1997, when Howard had been accused of overruling the head of the UK prison service. Paxman asked Howard the same question, "Did you overrule him?" 14 times in total on Newsnight, while he repeatedly tried to evade it.
I'm sorry, I'm going to be frightfully rude, but...
Yes, you
but
can...
I'm sorry. It's a quick, straight yes or no.
You can put the question, and I
It's a
would
straight yes or no
give you an
answer.
answer.
Did you threaten to overrule him?
It's cringeworthy to watch how would attempt to wriggle out of giving a definitive answer, and the interview was a stain on the politician's reputation for years afterwards.
But with respect, you haven't answered the question whether you threatened to overrule him.
Number 5. S Club 7 walk out over money questions. Liquid news. S Club 7 may have been known for their upbeat music and adorable TV show, but they had their fair share of scandal behind the scenes.
There are rumours, I don't know how true they are, that you guys are grumpy because you haven't made a mint.
No, that's not true.
During a 2003 interview on Liquid News, Claudia Winkleman asked an awkward question about how little the band had been paid by their management, and S Club 7's PR team swept in. A mysterious woman interrupted to call the question inappropriate and told the band to leave.
I'm not having that. I'm not having you asking that question. I tried to stop this and I've had to walk in here. Can you go? We're going.
Sheepishly, they all followed her out. It was later revealed that the band had only been paid €150,000 out of the $7.5 million they had earned. So maybe it was a fair question after all, even if it made everyone in the room uncomfortable. Number 4. Tyson Fury walks out. ITV News. Heavyweight boxer Tyson Fury has often upset fans with his controversial antics, including some rather intolerant remarks.
You've said things in the past which people have found abhorrent.
When ITV News reporter Nick Wallace asked about some of his more scandalous moments, including the 2-year ban he received after testing positive for a prohibited substance, Fury refused to answer.
No comment.
You don't want to say anything about that at all?
No comment.
The boxer repeatedly replied, no comment, before telling Wallace that the interview was now terminated and walking out.
No comment.
You don't want to talk about the Nandrolone thing?
No comment.
The question that we asked...
Boxing, please. Terminated.
You don't want to talk about it, Tyson?
The awkward encounter lasted less than 30 seconds and ended very uncomfortably. Even so, Nick Wallace must have been pretty grateful that the world champion didn't take a swing at him. Number 3. Guy Gomer's accidental interview. BBC News.
Well, Guy Cuny is the editor of the technology website News Wireless. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Were you surprised by this verdict?
This BBC interview went down in history because of a case of mistaken identity. They accidentally put the wrong person in front of cameras. When Guy Gomer went to the BBC for a job interview in the IT department, he was mistaken for a technology expert and interviewed on live TV.
When I came, they told me something else, and I'm coming. You got an interview there, so it's a big surprise anyway.
A big surprise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Guy clearly realised what happened once he was introduced, but tried to vaguely answer presenter Karen Bowman's questions anyway.
Actually, if you can go everywhere, you're gonna see lot of people downloading to the internet.
Guy had his real job interviewed 20 minutes after his screen debut, but despite his obliging attitude, Guy wasn't hired by the BBC after all. The live mix-up lives on in history, however, as one of the most memorable moments ever shown on BBC News. Number 2. Quentin Tarantino and Krishnan Guru-Murthy. Channel 4 News. Channel 4 presenter Krishnan Guru-Murthy, who has already been mentioned on this list, first earned his reputation for winding up celebrities when he interviewed the director Quentin Tarantino in 2013.
But why are you so sure that there's no link between enjoying movie violence and enjoying real violence?
I'm going to tell you why I'm so sure. Do not ask me a question like that. I'm not biting.
When he asked Tarantino about the violence in his films and how they might inspire real-life violent acts, the director refused to answer and claimed that he'd explained how he felt about these issues before. Eventually, he snapped and told Gurumurthy,
"And I'm shutting your butt down."
The uncomfortable interview quickly blew up online after Gurumurthy tweeted that Tarantino had slightly lost it. This may have been a slight understatement, since the conversation was tense enough to be a scene from one of Tarantino's films.
But you haven't said why you think there's no relationship.
It's none of your damn business what I think about that.
Well, it's my job to ask you why you think that.
And I'm
because you're
saying
very influential.
no.
Number 1, Boris Johnson and Ian Lavery, BBC News.
But he's not. The audience weren't convinced by that. Forgive Boris for not wanting to incinerate millions of people across the globe.
After the 2017 leadership debates, Boris Johnson had a bizarre clash with Labour chairman Ian Lavery when an argument turned nasty.
Well, I would have. You mind?
No, just wanted to know you were answering.
No. Stop being so rude.
Lavery claimed that Johnson had never used or visited a food bank, which the Conservative politician strongly objected to, telling him,
"What I want to do, you should take that back, old boy. Take it back."
As the discussion heated up, the pair began shouting, repeatedly pointing in each other's faces and accusing each other of being rude. When the BBC presenter tried to politely bring the interview to an end, Boris started blowing kisses to Ian Lavery. The whole conversation felt more like a secondary school scrap than a political debate, but at least Boris was willing to kiss and make up.
Let's hear from Jeremy Corbyn. This is what he had to say about that nuclear deterrent.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.